Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning. And damn right, he is out in all his glory. Grumpy is here. Oh, so much to be grumpy. He's happy today because this is a happy grumpy because there are actual things to be grumpy about. He's been coming out here in costume with nothing to be grumpy about. So I don't even know if it is something to be grumpy about. I feel relieved this morning. I don't know why, but we'll talk about that. But the king, well, the future king, the prince
Whoa,
is in the house.
whoa. If anyone gets word that you just used that, I might get killed, man. You gotta pump the brakes a bit here, man.
You have to get rid of your little siblings first. I hear that's how it works. How's it going?
Oh, it was an absolutely fine day yesterday, and then I woke up this morning. And I'm here now, and it hasn't been as fine. So we're gonna get into it. I think, as much as we wanted this topic to end, ironically, it is now the topic that's going to be discussed for a long time.
I actually felt more icky yesterday morning than this morning. Like when I was looking at, I missed the first half of the game. I was out there refereeing little kids, but then like watched the second half and stuff like that. I was more icky about more like the results. I don't know if you, I mean, we'll talk about that too. Like I don't even know if we care. Like as icky as I would be, but this morning, honestly, it was just like, oh, okay, so that's done finally, and now we do not have to talk contracts anymore. So that's what I'm happy for. So let's talk about that. Cersei's in the house. John, Alan, good morning, everybody. Hit that thumbs up and let's talk about all the stuff as others join around as well. So I guess we'll start with Trent. That's obviously the fresher, bigger news. I don't know how much we care about yesterday to even get back to. So he announces it today. I guess let's start with this because are we going to? I was going to bring up the subject. I think it was on the Friday show, but then, as we always do, we went kind of on a tangent and talked about other stuff. Because I was watching, I can't remember where it was now, but they were talking about the timing of when we would find out about Trent. Like, should it be like now? Should it be at the end of the season and stuff like that? So that conversation never came about. I guess what I'll ask you is, what do you think of the timing of it? Why after the Chelsea game? Why not do it the morning after we won the title? Maybe it was hungover. 2 mornings after we won the title. Why wait after the Chelsea game to announce it?
I have no idea. It was an absolutely weird time to announce it. I think when we talked a couple weeks ago, I think we mentioned that he maybe could be saved for like the last week of the season, right? The Monday or Tuesday before the final game at home against Palace. Like that might have been the time, um, but not after a loss to Chelsea. After playing like absolute crap, to be honest, like you already looked like you didn't want to be up there. You didn't want to be on the field, and then to then post this the next day. I mean, granted, we know that this was recorded a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't know how many weeks or months, maybe one could say. I they probably did two takes. One where he said I'm leaving as a two-time Premier League champion, and the other take as well. I just need to match my ambition. Only one Premier League champion, only a one-time Premier League champion. So they probably had both takes to go. But just a very, very weird time to release it. I don't know what your thoughts are on with that because it just doesn't make sense to me.
I never thought about it until, like I say, I watched whatever the heck I was watching. It was like a podcast or something like that. Oh, it was actually it was like Neville talking with what's her name from like NBC Sports in that podcast, and they were talking
Rebecca
about
Lowe.
that. And Gary was saying, and he occasionally says things I agree with, that wouldn't want the distraction, wouldn't want to take it away from the title because that's what's going to be talked about now. That's what's probably everybody's going to wait now for the Palace game to see the reaction or I guess this week against Arsenal and stuff like that. Those would be distractions that his teammates wouldn't want either. So it's kind of made more sense in some ways to do it right afterwards, like after the end of the season. Let's say, and if you were going to do it the other way around, right? I just want to get it out of the way, enjoy the last month, blah, blah, blah. The best time to do it was while everybody was drunk after the Spurs game. Because, we were like, oh, and then he's like, I'm leaving, by the way. You are? Oh, and then you would be gone. You know what I mean? Like, it would be kind of like get lost in the mix a little bit. Why wait a week from, what I've seen, a poor performance? I kind of speed watched the first half for this morning. I'll probably watch along to it during the day today for the night show. But why wait for that? I just don't understand. And I can't really. I mean, yet another bad advice he has received from his camp, I guess. I just can't put my finger on why he would be like, I'll wait after the Chelsea game thing. Just does not make sense to me.
Especially when he's had 18 months to say it. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
this has been the worst kept secret in a very long time, in at least for this club specifically. He's had all this time to say whenever, right? He could have said it after his poor performance against United at Anfield. Like that probably would have been the time. Like, okay, we get it. Yeah, that's why you did put in the most miserable shift of any so-called fan of this club has ever put in against a team like United. And it just stinks, man. It's so disappointing. I understand there were some comments in our Discord. There was a conversation this morning about the feelings and, that life is too short to hate and you kind of move on. And it's not that I necessarily feel hate. It's more disappointment than anything. Because especially as a vice captain, having no interviews with the media all year, making no appearances, no public appearances, like doing things that a vice captain is thought to do, right? Actually speaking out to reporters, having interviews like that, and then just dodging everything because you are afraid to admit that this has been on your mind for the last 18 months, maybe 2 years, maybe as far back as 4 years when you signed the contract, who knows? And the kissing of the badge against United, this conversation or this celebration, the same celebration that Jude did over at Dortmund before he left for Real Madrid, it all just felt so engineered, like robotically engineered and not genuine. And it just felt like it was so unnecessary. And I think it's made it hurt more because it didn't have to be done that way. It did not have to be done that way.
Yeah, and for all those people, like the part I don't understand is like people feeling bad for Trent. I don't feel bad for Trent at all. He's a grown ass man. I mean, at this point, it's not a 16-year-old where his parents are influencing him or whatever. Like he's what, 25, 26. He's a grown ass man. In soccer, he's almost getting old. So I do not feel bad for him at all. This is the bed you made. You sleep in it. And for him to do that, like when he did this, not this, but this, we all thought, like at the time, when you celebrate like that, it was more about, oh, he's not listening to any of that stuff. He's playing his game, blah, blah, blah. See, now when you look back to that, it's almost like he was mocking the fans. Like, you guys are babbling, I'm just doing my thing kind of a deal. And that is, I understand I woke up, saw the Twitter post. Before even the video, I looked at the Twitter post because that's the first link I linked on. And I read the comments underneath, and I can understand why the anger is really there. I don't have that anger. I couldn't care less. Just yesterday, I told NG, I hope he just leaves at this point. Because, like, let's get it done. Like, I'm kind of like sick of watching and like fighting his defenders of like why he doesn't defend and why he sucks at defending and shit like that. We'll enjoy watching him not defend at Real. I'll be all more than happy to watch that. But I don't feel bad for him at all. And I do understand why, especially people in Liverpool, take it as a bigger betrayal. Probably definitely me. I know about you because you talked about him being like one of the main characters as you follow Liverpool in the recent years, kind of a thing. But for me, I could not really care. Like, this is exactly why, and I've been saying this for months, 20 years down the road, we're going to still know where Dalglish is sitting on the stands. We're going to see, like where Stevie G is going to be sitting on the stands after a goal and stuff like that. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, Trent is here too in the back. He's in so-and-so's skybox or something like that is what's going to happen. We're not going to give a damn. And I think maybe it's a bit more like it does seem a bit over the top, the amount of hats, the hates, and calling him a rat and stuff like that. But I'll be honest, I get it, man. I get it. Having gone through the same exact thing with Arda Güler when he went to Real Madrid at Fenerbahce, and how that freaking 17-year-old handled it, and how this dude handles it, I think is like ridiculous.
I'm yeah, I it's hard because we don't want to sit here and tell anyone how to feel, right? And some people are going to be like, you know what, let's just move on. Other people are going to have their feelings. I think it depends on where you're from, your feelings with the player himself, your feelings with the club itself, this and that. It's just so hard for me to sit here and think about a guy like Alexis McAllister, who was born in Argentina, who wanted to give Brighton the chance to make money and sign an extension, knowing full well he was going to move on somewhere, go play somewhere bigger, but he wanted to give them the opportunity to at least get something for him, for everything, like kind of a reciprocation of giving him the chance to play there, right? Then you have a guy like Trent, who, obviously did his time, if you will, if you want to say that, at Liverpool for 20 years. I understand that. And people are saying, well, we got him for free, so you don't have to sell him for anything. If that's how you ran your business, you would not have a business, right? You have to run a business to make some sort of profit at the end of the day. If anything, you should get something for him because you didn't pay anything for him. I mean, I guess when you think about all the wages and whatnot, it's not a complete wash. If anything, you're losing money because you've paid all of his wages for the last however many years, right? So to think that he couldn't even offer that opportunity as an extension because he knew that Real Madrid wasn't interested enough to pay for him, and then still want to go to that club, even though he knew that they weren't going to pay for him anything. That's the model, right? You come for free or you don't come at all because we don't value you enough to give the club money for you. So we need you to run out your contract, and that's the only way we'll take you. And that's the kind of person, that's the kind of team you want to go to that feels like that about you. After seeing how they just reacted in the last cup final they had against Barcelona, a bunch of petulant children running around the field throwing ice at refs, like that's what you're going into. That's what you want. And then I don't know. I feel like he has a much bigger ego than we were led to believe. And I'm sure some people have clocked it and been like, yeah, there's a tremendous big ego on him. I think this alone has just confirmed that for me, that his ego is just too big. And it's like you said, it's for the better. Let's get through it. He wants to talk about exciting new challenges for him. This is an exciting new challenge for the club. Let's see how we move on, right? And so that's where I'm at.
John says, Harry Kane did the same for Spurs, got a transfer to ensure he got his boyhood club something as well. I mean, I think there are more examples of this than the example that Trent is setting. We let players go for free. No, but I mean, okay, like I'm not buying this crap. I don't know what I mean. If you're selling me this jersey, I'm not buying it. I'm not putting Genie and Shaqiri in the same boat as Trent and expect, like same results, or putting him in the same category for discussion. Harry Kane would be a guy you can put on the same boat and maybe compare in terms of having a discussion, but you can't. I mean, like I say, he was probably given vice captain for all those reasons too, but it's just, I mean, Kevin says, who cares about Trent? Move on and get ready for the party. And Sir Z says, we've lost bigger and better players. Let's move on. I mean, that's another thing. Like, I don't think anybody is waking up this morning in the Premier League and saying, oh, they're screwed now. Let's see what they do next year. I think they would if they woke up to news that Van Dijk was leaving or Mo was leaving. But I don't think anybody is getting up this morning and saying, oh, Liverpool are screwed now. This is our chance to catch up to them after us like winning the title and stuff like that. Because I just, especially this season, I don't think now anytime we don't score, like I don't know how this happened because it's Trent, right? Like in the past, this never was a conversation. Trent would be there. If we couldn't unlock a defense, it was always like we don't have creative players in midfield. Now this year, all I hear is when Trent is not there, this is why this team needs Trent, and people need to, like, we need to replace Trent's passing and shit. Okay, like you guys were not saying this when we couldn't unlock the defense under Klopp, and we were blaming midfield. We were like, we need more creative feet in midfield and stuff like that. We have a creative midfield right now, and it'll be a team that improves. You'll get a right back. I thought actually Bradley did really good, but I know I'm still in the camp that he can't be trusted for a full season. You gotta bring somebody in over there, and this team will probably like improve more. Like I think tactically, and that's why like I care even less. But it is annoying in the way that he has done it, and I can understand why like the hate is over it and why people are calling him a rat and stuff like that, because he could have handled this another hundreds different ways and they all would have been better than how he has handled it somehow, which is like really weird to say. But I don't know who he's getting advice from, or I mean it could be like the ego thing like you're saying. It's just, to me it's really really shocking of how he sat down and said, yep, this is the way to go. This is going to be the best thing for me. Because it clearly is not. I mean, he can want to go to Real and throw ice around with Rudiger, whatever he wants to do. I really don't care. I understand the new challenges, blah blah, whatever, dude. You do you. I think it's still stupid, and I've explained I think at least 100 times over the last year why it's stupid financially as well. But I'm not gonna get into that again because if you didn't get until now, you're never gonna get it. But why do it the way you did is just mind-boggling to me. Like, why not come out and say it earlier? Why not, like you're saying, he's a vice captain, which he never should have been. He never should have been, and he would not have been if it wasn't the Scouser in our team. That's the only reason he got it. Or maybe that was Klopp's way of kind of luring him to stay, knowing what he meant to him, and he already sensed the like saw the muddy waters. He was like, okay, like this will kind of lure him in, kind of deal. But the way he handled it is so freaking bad, man. It's like it's indefensible. He has made it indefensible for people who were defending.
Ironically, we're only talking about defense here, and Trent maybe isn't part of that conversation usually. And we are allowed to have different feelings about it. Like tactically, like you're saying, tactically we could feel good about it, while emotionally we could feel bad about it. That's okay. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. I think the great thing about this going forward is that if you are able to set up with a right back whose main job is to defend and not to be that creative outlet, the midfield doesn't have to look behind their shoulder as often, and that could unlock that more creativity from the midfield because they don't have to keep coming back to cover his ass, right? Because that's always something that was always looming, like we got to get back, make sure the right side's taken care of. Whereas now, if you get the right side taken care of, you can open up that midfield so much more, I think. And so I think that'll be exciting to see because there's a chance that happens with whether it's Bradley or whether it's another player. It's probably going to be some sort of split duty situation for a bit because Bradley's not going to be healthy enough for a whole season. And there's going to have to be someone else that can take up that spot when he's not fit. And then, emotionally, you can be as pissed and as disappointed as you want to be, right? Because this is something that it was handled so poorly. And this is supposed to be a guy who said his only dream was to be captain of this club. And it doesn't seem like that really was the case for the last few years. So yeah, it just stinks, man.
I mean, he could have, honestly, if he signs a contract now for like 3 years, 4 years, you would think if he's the vice though, he would have replaced, Van Dijk when the time comes, kind of a deal. But I mean, honestly, this was kind of like already done. Like up here, I think we were all done because I mean, as I watch, I mean, I know people always kept saying for the last 3-4 months, I have a feeling he might still stay and stuff like that. But I think that's like kidding yourself. Not only I never got that feeling, I never wanted that after a certain point, because especially after all this drama, once he goes back to his non-defending ways, the backlash was going to be 10 times what he got before the contract drama. He kind of like destroyed that already. Maybe he knows that he destroyed that already. And I mean, this team will improve, will go better ways. I think a lot of the things we did, if you ever listen to Slots and things he's talking about, tactically, like why we do this and stuff like that, he always brings up, when you have a guy like Trent and stuff. Well, yeah, when you have a guy like Trent, you play this way. Now that you don't have Trent, you have this guy. Going back to what you're saying, you play this way now. You use your midfield to create, or you do this and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be, in the long run, I think it's going to be a plus. I just did not want to see another few seasons of Trent's defending. I'll be honest. You watch some of the stuff from yesterday. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, where are you going? Like, I half the time I don't even understand. All these people who said for years, oh, because the system wants him to push up and stuff. He's freaking back there, and like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's following the wrong guy. He's not even following the guy. He's jogging back. It's like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, what are you even thinking? And this is him. This is his defensive. Like, if you ever play a video game, what the hell is defensive awareness? Well, whatever he has low on, that's what defensive awareness is. If you want to see what defensive awareness means, watch Trent when it's low. This is basically what happens. Had never anything to do with positioning. And of course, all those people who made those excuses for years are now like, he was a bad defender anyway. Yeah, he was. He always was. You just try to cover up for him. My dream was to marry Kim. Like, she got old. To be fair, it's not like you stayed the same age, Surzy. So there's that. How old is Kim?
To the Google machine.
Kevin says, send Trent to Major League Soccer where all sins are forgiven. Even Zaha and Benteke have been redeemed.
71.
71. Yeah, that is a little old. Even for Surzy.
She is single now, though.
Ooh, Surzy. I don't know if the wife is around, but, you know, do what you can. See what happens. I mean, I'm sure she lives in California or somewhere. So he's close.
Probably. Yeah.
So a drive-by, fill it out, see if you can get him, maybe. But
Kim.
This is Surzy, your biggest fan. Yeah. So at the end of the day, he's gone. I don't think I heard I saw the here we go, but
yeah.
I don't think, honestly, I'm more like, you know, FSG out now because of what's potentially or allegedly they have offered them, because that would be a horrible business decision to give a high amount to a right back who doesn't defend. And I know they were probably doing it more of the importance he means to the club, or they already knew he was not going to take it, and they didn't want to be, because if they offer, I don't know, 150 a week and Trent leaves to Madrid, it would have been FSG's fault. Now that the word is out that they're paying him making him one of the highest paid backs, now they're like, it's all him, and just blame it on Trent.
It looks even worse on him, right? I mean, the public image is one thing. It's not one thing. It's an important thing when it comes to a person, when it comes to a team, when it comes to an organization. And if you are the owner of this club and you don't make a legitimate offer to keep one of the most talented players to ever come through the ranks of your academy at the club, then the fans, they turn on the ownership. I mean, some of them, plenty of fans have still turned on the ownership, even though the ownership has brought in so many trophies and an actual contending team, even though, you know, before them it was an absolute hellhole. But we don't like to talk about that too often because, you know, we don't want to give the Americans too much credit for that one, to actually still be competing.
Well, I think the Americans before them has really destroyed that. I really blame them. They won't not only destroy the club, but they destroyed that. So the new guy could not do anything right because they have the same passport.
That's fair. That's fair. But even though it's the same passport, it's a brand new face and name, and they brought all of this to us over the last, you know, what, 14 years or 12, 13 years now. So you do what you can to keep the players that you feel like you should keep, especially when it comes to the public image of a guy like Trent, who is one of our own. You know, that's always, Liverpool always says, one of our own kind of thing. And so if you don't make that offer and you don't look like you made that offer, then you're always going to be the bad guy. Yep. Whereas now, even though they probably don't want to turn around and say, well, Trent's the evil person in this situation. They can at least, like you're saying, kind of keep their hands clean off of anything. No, I mean, but they don't have to. They can just sit here like this.
Yeah.
Right? Like we tried. That's it. We tried. Sorry. Yep. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. So
Stephen Cook says, we won the league. Did I mention that? Yes. I mean, that's the thing. It's just, I really don't care. I mean, like, even the Chelsea game, I was like, I mean, we were talking about this right before it went on air. It was like, can we like fast forward? It's almost like when you're gonna quit a job, you put in your 2 weeks, you're like, just take it now and let me go. I don't want to be here anymore, kind of a deal. So it's that's what it really like feels like. Let's just rush through, get to the Palace game, celebrate, lift the trophy, and watch that, watch the parade, and then get ready for next season, see what the summer brings and stuff like that, and get excited about that more than people leaving. I mean, here's the thing. I'm trying to look at the flip sides of things where like people who defended Trent all this time in terms of, oh, he doesn't owe anything to Liverpool because he won all this. It's not like he's winning it by himself, mind you. So I never understood that, but he's won all the stuff for Liverpool and stuff. But I think those are the people that who feel the most betrayed now, because this is not just betraying the club; it's a little betraying the city. It feels like. Whereas professionally, when you look, I understand why some people would say he doesn't owe anything. Like he worked out his contracts. And like we see it in American sports all the time. A guy does the contract and then he gets injured and he's like freaking like thrown to the curb right away, kind of a deal. But like in this scenario, I feel like those people are now the people that are really on his ass because he's betrayed the city as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care. Let's just get out healthy, says Steven. Yeah, I mean, honestly, even if somebody like, twists an ankle now, I'm like, whatever. Like, they'll be back for camp. It's just going to be kind of awkward by the pool, is what it is. Kevin says, off topic, but what do you think the Premier League will look like with a salary cap? Oh, Kevin, over here, if we ask this question, the hates we would get would be unreal. So I'll leave this on the screen so that as we're talking about it, it's not like Americans want a salary cap on the Premier League.
Don't worry. Don't worry. This one won't be clipped. There will be no short. There will be no video. There will be nothing about this question at all. We could definitely talk about it because we're familiar with salary caps here in the States. But I think in a way it could level the playing field, especially for teams getting promoted, to sort of keep that balance a little bit closer than it has been recently, because we've struggled to really see enough parity coming up from the Championship to the Premier League, right? So the imbalance has been pretty big, especially this year, right? I mean, there was maybe 2 weeks where we thought, okay, maybe Wolves could slip down there, maybe United could slip down there, but ultimately it always was Ipswich, Southampton, Leicester. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of thought after the first, 6 weeks. I think it was pretty much done, and we all felt that way. So would a salary cap potentially help that? Yes. But I think because the sport itself is run so differently from an ownership standpoint, you wouldn't be able to have a salary cap put in place because you're not going to get the owners of City, Newcastle, United agreeing to the same cap as an ownership of Leeds and Burnley and Sheffield United, right? I mean, just guessing, maybe Sheffield goes to the playoff. Who knows? We'll see. But I don't think you have those teams agree, the former teams, the latter teams agree on that cap, because the investment that they put in is much bigger. And with the sport the way it is and how it's set up, I don't think it would necessarily work. You'd have to restructure the whole thing, and I think that would just cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, I didn't know like New Zealand has caps on major sports. I don't know. Here's the thing. It works different over here, and I would assume the same in New Zealand as well, because it's all about markets, right? So you're not going to be able to have a cap and have, I don't know, like, what is it, like 6 teams or whatever from London in the Premier League, because either the cap is going to be more suitable for I don't know, like a West Ham or something, because then, if you make it based on Arsenal, the income of the club is so much higher than the other ones. Over here, they're like, Baltimore doesn't look like us, to Cleveland, and then they just like go over there. So you can't do that with soccer, and I think that's what the problem is. And I mean, I'm assuming New Zealand has it, but there is no relegation promotion thing that will really screw that up. I mean, over here it's just like all sets, everybody, all the owners get rich, rinse and repeat. You win, you get richer. You lose, you just get rich, and it's all the same. But when there is relegation and stuff involved, that's not going to work the same way. I just don't see a way. I think what they came up with is the closest they can come to. But I honestly think, like over here, people buy sports teams as an actual business, similar to what FSG has done, right? Where they make money off of it. Not they're not necessarily fans, or they're not necessarily that into sports. There's very few guys like Mark Cuban and stuff like that when he was with Mavericks who are, like really hands-on, like really excited into the sport and stuff. They're usually faceless things in the background, just like raking in the money. Whereas, like, you look at some of these owners, like the guy that bought PSG, the guy that owns City, if they're not able to use their money and play with their money, if you will, I don't think they're interested. They're not really in it to make a lot of money. They have money. I mean, if we had you have bazillion dollars as a prince, pretty soon you'll probably just buy a club just for shits and giggles. And that's not the same thing over here. I feel like it's a lot more business. So that kind of works better.
Polturk FC, to be specific. But I think the other thing that you have to
be like a general manager or something like that, because
whatever,
you're the money man. What am I gonna do?
Whatever, you're gonna be my face that takes the punches, right? I'm gonna be the one hiding behind you as you take all my punches. So I appreciate your sacrifice.
I will not take any questions at this time.
Yes, okay. Yes, just like Trent all year long. So
these are really difficult decisions.
This is easily the hardest decision of my life. Is it? Is it? Okay. So yeah, Dingus FC. Yeah, that's pretty much nailed on. The problem, Kevin, also with doing a salary cap in just the Premier League, in a league that is in a bunch of leagues within Europe, you'd have to extend that salary cap to every league in Europe. Because if you just have a salary cap in just England, let's say just the Premier League, there are going to be teams, or there are going to be players who are not going to play for certain teams because salary cap situations, they can't get the money, and they're going to leave the league. You're going to have players leave to go find playing time elsewhere because there's going to be money there to be made and not a fixed set amount that they can only earn up to this point. So you can't do that unless you stretch it all across Europe. And then good luck getting every European domestic league to agree to a cap the exact same way, because it's not going to happen.
Did someone say Super League?
Kevin, that's Kevin's goal this whole time. He's pretty much like, screw that. I'm going to go and I'm going to just take care of the Super League. The problem with the MLS here, now that Kevin brings it up too as well, the MLS,
do we have time?
The teams are actually owned by the league. So there's that whole can of worms too.
Yeah, I mean, Major League, I don't know, man. I just can't take a league seriously. I really, really, as somebody who lives here, want the sport to get bigger here and want this league to become an actual legitimate league. I can't take you seriously when the entire world stops playing because their international players are gone and you're still trying to play league games like the third division in Argentina or some shit. Like you go to FootMob or like Live Score to look at scores to search international games. Nobody else in the world is playing, like the second division in Uruguay or somebody is playing, and Major League Soccer. I mean, it's like, so you don't take yourself seriously. Why would I take you seriously? And then when everybody has to chip in, like it would be almost like everybody gives money to Liverpool, so we sign Mo to an extension. Like the whole Messi ordeal by itself is just, I don't know, I find it almost like semi-embarrassing, some of the things they do. We were gonna watch something on Apple TV yesterday or the other day, and then like the thing came on, and obviously they have the rights to Major League Soccer, so they had the game. Apparently, it was, even I don't have the package or anything, but I guess it was free to anybody with Apple TV or whatever. Honestly, the games look like they're from like the 60s. First of all, the turf makes it look like I'm not watching in high definition. It's like VCR quality or something like that. I mean, there's so many freaking aspects to this league that it makes it impossible for somebody like me in the US to take it seriously when I would love to have a league over here that I can like really get into and feel for it and stuff like that. I mean, and it has not changed, man. I mean, that's the thing. You go to some fire games, we went to one together and stuff like that. It just not has not changed. Like 20 years ago, I remember Chicago Fire. I've talked about this here before. They asked the Chicago Fire general manager, "Will there be any more moves before the season?" And the dude says, "Yes, we'll be signing a Polish player." Like position to be determined, but they have to be Polish because there's a lot of Polish people in Chicago, kind of a thing. And this is the mindset of this league. It's almost like it's impossible to take it seriously. 2 decades later, now everybody can. Does anybody have money? We really want to bring Messi, but you're like, I'll give you some. What? Who does that? Like, what kind of a league does that? And then expect to be taken, and then that team afterwards plays against the team with Messi and stuff. There's no
But they
sporting
get
reality of that.
they get to sell out their stadium like the Fire. They opened up the upper deck, which they never do because there aren't enough people interested in watching the Fire. They actually did almost. I think they sold out Soldier Field, which is crazy when you think about it as a 0-0 game. And some of those poor fans whose first experience was or first soccer experience potentially was Messi against the Fire, ended 0-0 with not a lot of interesting things happening. It probably wasn't a great introduction to the sport for them. But hey, at least they spent $200 to see it. No, I didn't go. It was way too expensive.
Is it just me? Am I just like a? I mean, I know the answer. I am a crabby old man now at this point, but like I have no as invested in this game as I am, and I don't care who it was. It could be Mo, like 4 years down the road. I have no like really drive to go see an old ass, too old for the rest of the world version of one of the greatest players in the world. I just don't like. I just don't have a drive to be like. I really want to go see him live. You're not really. He's dead, man. Like you're just seeing this version of like reincarnation.
It's almost a disservice to your memory to watch him right now,
like
rather
Stevie
than
G here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I remember wanting to. I was like, oh my God, Steven Gerrard here in the MLS. I'm gonna go see him. And then I was like, what the what is going on? Like I almost ruined. Maybe that's why I felt so much love for Kevin De Bruyne, because I saw Steven Gerrard play in a Galaxy uniform. So there you go, Sir Z. I think I found out the root of my trauma. But it's one of those things where if you're going to have a chance to see someone like Messi, you have to see him when he's with the team that he made his name famous with, right? I mean, you'd have to see that Barcelona team from 08 to 10, or the Barcelona team with Neymar and Suarez, like to be able to see the peak of Messi. Like that would have been the time, not Inter Miami, right? Even at PSG, you could still argue that there was a moment where, and I just remembered he actually went to PSG as I was saying that, you could still say I was able to see Messi and feel good about it. You can't say I saw Messi here and feel good about it, I think.
Yeah, like do you walk out of the game and we're like, I saw Messi. Like, okay, good. Like, I mean, I saw him on TV. I mean, is it really different? It doesn't even like I don't know.
I saved a bunch of money.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's another thing. Like, it's disgusting how they raise up the ticket prices for it and stuff like that. But you're right. Basically, they're like, hey, we'll give you 50,000 is coming from us because we'll probably make an extra 100,000 that game when he comes to our stadium for a couple of times, kind of a deal. I don't know. It's just, and obviously the money they get from like Apple TV that Messi also gets. I mean, I think the way that the league has sold out is so pathetic. Can you imagine like an actual league doing that? Any other league in the world doing that? Like the Saudi Arabian league didn't do that with Ronaldo, and Major League Soccer did it over here, and that's why I just can't really like this. Honestly, coming from Kevin, I am really shocked. Like, is it they're all equally shitty? Like, you know what I mean? Like the level is same, like the competition level is the same. So teams are close, kind of a thing. It's very open. I can tell you that, right? Like it's very open. It reminds me of like 60s 70s soccer where it's almost like a table football where there's like lines over here. They're like, defense got it, give it to midfield carry it to forwards up, yeah, and then just goes back, and there is no like compact defending or anything like that. Probably concepts to advance to explain, and they are sending some really good players, but I think that's, any league is sending good players out of there. I mean, Turkey is sending good players, freaking, what I mean, like to Europe. I think that was like the last time we had this discussion. Somebody was like, there's a lot of great players coming out of it. Okay, I mean, they're basically great players that are from South America who don't want to make the big jump to go to Europe right away, so come to the US and eat some Dunkin' Donuts and, some I don't know what else is very American over here, apple pie, and then go over there. So they've already adjusted to a different culture or something. I don't know what it is, but
I mean, how many? But can I ask how many great players are being signed from the MLS? You got Miguel Almiron and Thiago Almada. Like, who else do you put in that list that's like, oh my god? Maybe Alphonso Davies, right? As maybe the prime example of it. But outside of that, he's the only one who's even close to being considered as close to world class without actually being world class. Everyone else, I don't think there's anyone that's in the conversation.
And honestly, even with that Davies, it reminds me of like a situation where like the parents did not really want to send him away for college. So he went to the junior college close by, but it was so good. They were like, yeah, I guess you got to go to college. You're really smart. And then they sent him to actual college. And then he went to Europe, kind of a deal. I don't know. I just can't. And I have tried. I honestly have tried. I'm not just a hater to be a hater.
Yeah, we went to games together. Like, you guys, we've watched.
Scouted Berwin Bryan, who's now the star of Chicago.
Hey, we actually also scouted Chelsea's keeper that they purchased too. Gabby Swanina, when he was the fire keeper at that point. He was like 16, 17.
You were only scouting him. I remember you talking about him as we were walking to the stadium. But that was the Polish connection.
Yeah, it wasn't just because he was Polish. No, I was super high. Yeah. Okay, can I ask you something real quick, because I just got a notification, because unfortunately I like to respond to people in groups for no reason other than to rile them up. Apparently,
I'm trying to quit. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see me shake every time I pick up my phone. I'm trying to quit. I swear I don't want to do it anymore. But
I'm only doing it once a week now.
Keep going back. So this person, and I would like to get your opinion on it before I share my response. He said, this is in regards, we're going back to Trent now, right?
Okay.
You probably figured that out. Probably not an MLS thing that I'm commenting on. Otherwise, my life is pretty sad. He says, I don't hate him for leaving. It stinks, and a lot of fans will. But he's won everything at Liverpool. In my opinion, he leaves a better legacy than Gerrard. He's still in his mid-20s, and I just think it's human nature to leave your hometown eventually. I wish he would have won one more European Cup. Better legacy.
Joe, age 24.
No, this guy looks a bit older. He's in like his mid-30s, I think, or he's just.
So he's like you. He thought Kevin De Bruyne was better than TV.
Hey, we found the root of the trauma. All right, we're over that now. We're gonna move past that.
I don't want to dig it further. I'm sorry.
But do you think? Am I crazy in my response saying that his legacy is not bigger than Steven Gerrard's?
No, it's nowhere close.
I'm trying to, and then I got a response from a different person saying, how many leagues did Gerrard win? As if that is the one statement that makes or breaks a person's legacy, is the amount of titles.
Very American, by the way.
Yeah,
that's very American. Comparing greatness by number of rings is the American way of judging people in sports, because it's not a team sport or anything. So we were just judging it by that. It's not like winning tennis. I mean, the dude is part of a team. Here is the way I think we should look at it. The other day, there was a video. We were just like hanging out with Angie, and there was a video of Coutinho showing Coutinho moments. And I loved Coutinho. Layla was a huge fan of Coutinho. And that's when she was like first getting the soccer, like watching at a Coutinho jersey and stuff like that. And how do you watch those now? Right? You watch those highlights with, man, you screwed it, man. What it could have been. And I realized Coutinho did not win anything and Trent has. But when you watch Trent's highlights from like, like the last 4 or 5 years, 20 years from now, I might not be around, YouTube might not be around, but there will be a format to watch those. When you watch those, you're still going to say he could have done a lot more. He just left so shitty, is what you're gonna say. Whereas you sit and watch maybe like Mo, um, even like somebody like Bobby, you watch something that he's done somewhere else afterwards or whatever, you're gonna remember those guys a lot more fondly, I think, than Trent, because of the way he's leaving. And I think that's a very short-sighted. That's why I feel like anybody who says that just does not understand. And I hate to say it because we get it all the time, but stick to baseball, because that's a very American way of looking at something like that.
We've
Like,
come
how
full
many
circle.
titles he won and stuff like that. And then that's why some of these guys don't have loyalty, because you don't appreciate loyalty. So I guess why would they have it? Is people like him is why Trent's camp is like, dude, screw it, go to Madrid. It's warmer over there. You can hang out with Bellingham, ride roller coasters all day. So I think, yeah, that is such a horrible take. I mean, never for me. And I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be different for everybody else. But you are a bigger Trent fan. That like you talked about it before. I mean, it doesn't sound like you even feel like that.
No, no. You have someone who gave his entire life to the club, had chances to leave, then didn't leave because he knew what he meant to the team. He knew what he meant to the fans. He knew what he meant to himself. I think most importantly, that he himself, he understood that what the meaning of being a fan of that club and growing up wanting to play for that club, what that meant. And that meant staying there, whether it was good or whether it was bad. And for Stevie G, he had reasons he could leave. There were times where we're like, you know what? We get it. We absolutely
get it.
He
almost did. And I think,
yeah,
that's what I was maybe thinking Trent would do. Would maybe, as it came closer, realize how damaging it could be, and maybe that would change his mind. But no, because I think Stevie G did see that and said, no, this means more, as the thing says.
and that's what we always like to say. It means more. And apparently
It doesn't.
for Trent, it doesn't. And
Right?
that's
basically Trent saying, nah, not really. It doesn't.
and that's fine. If that is ultimately his feelings at the end of the day, and for the last 18 months that we think he's been feeling, great. See you later. You will not be regarded as highly as you could have ever been highly regarded for fans for this club. There's no chance now. I think he will be remembered as a great team player in a stretch of time, but he's not going to go down as a Liverpool legend. I promise that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, I mean, Trevor says. I mean, I always get that. It's just like such a stupid way to measure players, is like what they won, and then come around and say, I like the sport because it's the ultimate team sport and stuff. I mean, what? Like, what you say doesn't match the other. I don't know. Yeah, there is no way in hell. Like I say, years down the road, he's gonna be. I mean, the other day, I think it was the Spurs game. They had like a table, like this table in the like pundits, and it was like McManaman, Fowler, and Owen. And I was like, like he's gonna be one of those guys. I mean, not Fowler maybe, but he's gonna be one of those guys. And you can't tell me those guys, especially Owen. I mean, Owen has done the ultimate horror. Let's see if Trent does that too. Well, when he realizes what Madrid is all about, comes back, and if he goes to a rival and stuff too. But I mean, those guys are not considered the same thing as Douglas and like Stevie G and stuff like that. It's just, yeah, I don't get that arguments of like better legacy than Stevie G.
If he wants a real challenge, he should go play for Tranmere Rovers, right? He shouldn't go to Real Madrid. That's right. If you want a real challenge, go to some other Spanish club, right? I think it's just all around just stinks. I keep saying that word. It just stinks.
Yeah, that's why I put Fowler in like a different thing with that. And even look, especially like McManaman and stuff, and you could even go back a little bit to the Coutinho conversation and say, like these guys wanted to go win things and they wanted to win trophies, so they're not considered like Karl Malone and Charles Barkley or whatever. And I get that. I would have gotten that if this team was not winning right now. Like you can't say that now. I think if Stevie G left, then you could have been like, you know what? He just didn't want to waste his career trying to carry an entire club. He wanted to win some things, blah blah blah. But he didn't. He knew the value of what it's meant. That this actually does mean more. And but you can't say that for Trent. Like this is a team that's winning trophies. So you're not like, I gotta go win trophies, guys. I mean, I just can't stand over here and stuff like that. That's what everything he says makes zero sense. And for him to do this afterwards is just so freaking insulting. And I do understand. I don't have that over the top hatred. I couldn't personally care less. I'm like, whatever, dude, see ya. But I really do get why people are so angry with him who are from Liverpool. And like I say, I just keep going back because I just had this with like Arda Güler, homegrown guy, which he's not even homegrown. He's homegrown as much as like Nioni. They signed them to Fenerbahce from another Karagümrük, I think it was like another youth team and stuff like that. But if he left, and look, he left Fenerbahce to go to Real Madrid. So there was no questioning, dude, you're winning European titles competing for him over here. We get it. You got to go. But if he did that, I think he would have had a huge backlash. Now people watch him, and I watched Real Madrid games to see. I turned on the highlights the other day to see, and he scored another freaking ridiculous goal, by the way, another assist. If he gets more minutes, that kid is something. Well, I guess now he can pass around with Arda because he's not going to come back because he plays right wing. So that should be interesting. Who's going to defend over there? But I just don't see a world if he did that, nobody would is anybody going to really turn on a Real Madrid game now who's a Liverpool fan and root for Trent to do well? I'm not saying root against, but root to do well.
Yeah, people that maybe found the club to support just off chance in the late 2010s when they were successful, like, oh, cool team, Liverpool, I like them. Oh, Trent, he's from there, that's cool. And not really have an affinity for the club itself from, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like bandwagon fans, like fans who aren't necessarily, and there's nothing wrong to eventually start liking a club.
Yes.
But there's a difference between having a love for the club and continuing that passion for cheering for that club, and then just hopping on a successful bandwagon and then kind of following players from there, right? There's a difference to fandom.
When you say bandwagon, it implies that you're going to jump off.
You can jump off, and those are the fans that will follow him and watch him at Real Madrid, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that there are going to be Liverpool fans that watch him over there and root for him, but they're not like this is the one team I support and that's all kind of thing. Because we all watch different teams for different reasons just because it's the sport, right? But I'm not going to watch another game and actively root for someone unless they've signed a pre-contract with Liverpool and they're coming over in the summer, right? Like, let's say, like Kirkej, there's some sort of fee that's signed on. I'll watch a couple more Bournemouth games the last couple weeks. Maybe I'll do that. But I'm not going to actively watch something else to root for someone else if I don't have a stock in it.
Yeah, like I said, I do watch and I do want Arda to do well. I don't care about Real Madrid doing well. I want Arda to do well because, I really like the kid, how he carries himself and how he's handled everything. And again, so don't give me this, like, he's young shit for Trent. Arda was like a 17-year-old, I think, at the time. So it has nothing to do with age and stuff like that. It's just a matter of, how he carries himself, how much you respect your actual original club. And that's why I feel like this is extremely disrespectful. So I do understand the huge, a little over the top, probably anger. I mean, and you can hate on him. You can call him a rat and stuff like that. I see some comments that are probably a little over the top. But if you think he's a rat and you're like, hey, I think you're a rat, I think you're a rat. So, I get that. Kevin says, Clemens and Douglas is why I follow. I mean, like going back to what you're saying, everybody has a starting point of why, right? Unless you are from Liverpool and you were born, you had to choose. I don't necessarily have a why I supported Fenerbahce. You're kind of like born into it. Like I say, my grandfather was one of their all-time players, so like didn't really have like a okay, now you're 7, pick a club kind of a thing. You were just kind of like born into it, and unless you wanted to live out on the streets, you were probably going to support Fenerbahce anyway. Everybody else, like, like as I grew up and you watch European football, you kind of almost had. I remember, like, Italy, I used to love Juventus just because of that team they had at the time with like Platini, Rossi, and stuff like that. Boniek, your Polish dude, and stuff like that. So I get that. And then with Liverpool, like I say, that 1984 final, Grobelard, and then I started like watching some of the players, and I started like liking it. Everybody has a starting point, but yeah, to me, when you say a bandwagon, to me that implies that thing is rolling and you're gonna just jump off eventually. I know that's not, in the sense you're making it, but a bandwagon fan to me is eventually gonna jump off to another wagon that's moving by or whatever. But everybody is gonna have a starting point, and that. But I think even if your starting point is Trent, isn't this worse? You don't think? If your starting point was Trent, dude, I got into this for you, and now you're leaving. Isn't that worse?
No, because then you're a fan of players, not a fan of teams. And I think we see it more so here in the States,
I think so. Yeah.
because there's not you don't have geographical ties to clubs in the States like you do overseas potentially, right? And we see very much fans of players here, not fans of teams as much. So I don't think it'd be the same in that situation.
And I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think now. Like, look like NFL, for example. You do have some teams that have, and I know, like over here, for money purposes, they try to be non-political as possible for the most part, right? But not a lot of clubs have, what's the good word for us, like ethos, I guess. Like, like you get into Liverpool represents something. There are certain clubs that represent certain things. I don't know if you can say that over here. I'm trying to think now, but like, yeah, like you have, Pittsburgh Steelers, tough in the trenches, blah blah blah, kind of a bullshit. But or like,
But
like the Midwest Monsters, or like the Chicago Bears weather and
yeah,
shit like that.
your identity can't be that they play tough sometimes. That's not
Yeah.
that's not an ethos of a club. That's just an adjective.
Yeah, I can't
Um,
think of anything
I
like that over
guess the only thing I can think of, possibly to a slight extent, is the Green Bay Packers, because they're one of the only teams that are owned by the fans. So they have, I guess, the ethos is owned by the fans for the fans kind of thing.
I guess, yeah.
But outside of that, there isn't a particular team that like you're saying that actually stands for something other than make me money.
Yeah, and I think I stand for money. And I think that's why, a lot of like American fans have trouble understanding how political like Liverpool is, for example. And so they're basically like denying it because they started like in Liverpool. Now they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize this was that's because
They
like
What
my
do you
fault.
mean they don't shut up and dribble over there?
And then you're like, and then they twist the you know what? I separates, but you can separate all you want, but the club doesn't. So you can separate all you want, but
Nope.
if you're not going to support certain things that the club does, I don't know what you're doing. Kevin, you're a Packers fan? No way.
Look, I keep hitting the nail on the head today, guys. I don't know what to say.
Because yeah, you're a Bears fan, correct? No, no,
Sure.
no
I
NFL.
mean, because they're the closest team, sure. I don't really I don't have a favorite team. Then I do fantasy football because I'm very much hey, I'm just gonna do this for the players. I don't really have an allegiance to any team. I don't care about the sport and the team that much to say I am a fan of. But if they are in the Super Bowl, I am gonna root for them, and I will celebrate a little bit because it's just what's happening around me.
You're just gonna be at the parties and stuff
I'm
like
just
that.
one of those bandwagoners.
Yeah, you're like those people in the office that are like just show up when the team is doing well, and you have never heard them talk sports before. Basically, you're like, dude, I didn't even know you watch sports, kind of a thing. Yeah, you're one of those. I get it. I get it. See, Steven is a Bears fan. I'm a
Dumb
49ers fan,
Bears.
obviously, but um, Yeah, I don't know. It's like a different animal over here. I think like the whole sports thing's a different animal. So it's kind of hard to understand, and that's why the whole Trent thing maybe is even more difficult to understand because I can't switch to player rooting ever because that's not how grew up like the American way of like, so where's LeBron now kind of a thing. I just can't do that when he's at Lakers now. I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm rooting for LeBron, but I couldn't care less when he was at. I mean, I'll watch, I can admire somebody doing well or whatever, but I'm not going to be like, go Heat because he's there. Oh, what are we rooting for now? Well, okay, like, it's just that's not the way it works, which makes that's why I think maybe some people might find it more difficult to understand the level of ratness in this from Trent. But I really can't put it any way, man. It is. I understand.
Instead of your pie for tonight's show, we need
Ooh.
a ratometer, and just bring up different situations over the history, and just have Gally and Bickler tell you where they fall on the ratometer, and we'll
That's
see.
actually good. We should put it on a ratometer anyway. Like, is he a full blown rat? Is he like a
The
rat?
scale is from 0 to Bruno Fernandez, and we're gonna all have to be somewhere within that range. I think that's
Actually, you know what? We're gonna do this tonight. We're gonna go 0 to Fernandez. How rats are you? It's gonna be the new segment. I might even come up with a song for this. Okay. Um, and Monday, any plans today? More remodeling?
Yeah, like more. I'm pretty much just demolition
I
of the
like how you
house.
hands-on you are with your pals. It's
Thank
really,
you.
hanging in there with the common folk over there and doing the work. That's
It's
admirable.
it's a labor of love, I can tell you that. And I have to share a quick story from Saturday from work real quick, because I feel like this whole weekend I've just been destroying things, like ripping up floors, ripping up baseboards, this and that. And I don't know how this is connected to work at all, but anyways, we were robbed. Like, not okay. When you let me
It's an inside job.
whoa. I have to remember that when I texted Michelle saying we were robbed, in her head she's thinking, oh my god, someone came in, broke up all the cases and stole everything. No, we had one woman who pocketed a $2,500 ring, and walked away with it. So real quick, what happened was on Friday, one of our sales associates, she was working on changing some watch batteries for this woman, and we figured all this out the next morning because we have security cameras.
Yeah.
And what we ended up seeing was this woman stole a ring, put it in her pocket, paid for her watch batteries, and left. And then about a half hour later, we had a client of ours that comes in rather often. She looked at a box and was like, is this supposed to be empty? And we're like, nope, not supposed to be empty. And so we just thought we dropped it somewhere because we've never had this happen before, at least in the last
So
like
why was the ring taken out? Don't you have to usually like
we
use full court pressure in your hand behind the
no
face when you give somebody something?
we're not like that.
Oh,
We're not
you
like
will
other
be
girls.
now.
We're not like other girls. So some of our merchandise is displayed on top of the cases,
Oh,
just to kind of so you can play, you can look at it, because we don't like to be the
I see a
overly.
change in policy coming your way soon.
Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But she walked out with it, and then we didn't find it the rest of the day. The next morning, we're like, you know what? We'll just review the security cameras, see what happens.
You guys did
So,
not review the secure cameras the day off? Man, maybe relaxed environment. What is
dude,
the address so everybody can go to
I'm
now?
telling you, I just told you this has never happened before. Our first thought wasn't, "Oh my God, someone stole something from us." And so, okay, yeah, maybe it was we waited too long, but anyway, the next morning we have someone sitting, and the worst part about this is the security footage. You can't fast forward it; you have to watch it in real time. So we're taking shifts because it takes way too long to have to sit there and watch it. Thankfully, we had like a time frame that it happened because we knew at what point the client noticed the box was empty. And it turned out we saw the exact moment it happened. And this woman, she paid for her watch batteries. She gave us her real name, a real phone number, and a card with her name on it. So I call her and I'm like, look, we're going to be really gracious in this situation. We noticed in our cameras that you took one of our rings and you left the store with it. We would like you to bring it back. and we won't proceed with any charges, right? And then I also sent a text message because I thought, well, maybe if she doesn't get this voicemail, like at least she'll get the text message. I know she'll get the text message these days. Like that's just how
Did
it
you put
works.
like LOL? Can't
Not
believe you walked out with the ring. Laugh at my fucking ass.
LOL, LMAO, ROFL. Yeah, just bring it back, you stupid idiot. So I sent the text, no response. And so we contacted non-emergency after a couple hours, like, hey, look, we need to file a report because we're gonna have to do this eventually. Yes, ring emoji. Basically, how I just the text was just 3 ring emojis, and I was like, you're gonna get it. You should probably understand what I'm saying.
Handcuff emoji.
Yeah.
Like a police.
And so cop comes, he takes all the information. I give him a flash drive with the actual, we have the video of it. So he had it for his evidence, if you will. Right. And then an hour later, she calls and she's like, oh, did you get my text message? And I was eating lunch. She's like, no, I haven't checked it. And I checked it. And this is, I'm going to read it to you guys because it's really funny, actually. Not funny, but funny. She goes, OMG, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you didn't. Like...
I think I put it in my pocket and was planning on asking the lady who is changing the batteries of my watches if there was any chance to negotiate the price. I'm feeling so stupid and embarrassed. I discovered it in my pocket and did not know what to do about it. I was afraid you were going to call the police if I bring it back. What time are you open today? So she comes back a couple minutes after that, because that's when I was on the phone as I was reading that text message, and I said, just come back, bring the ring back. She's like, yeah, I live a couple blocks away. So she comes back. This ring is in a different box, not one of our own. The price tag has been ripped off of it. And I look at her dead in the face and I go, this is really weird. The price tag is ripped off and this is sitting in a box that isn't ours. This is really weird, don't you think? And she just says nothing. And I'm like, all right, thank you. Goodbye. Grab the ring from her and she leaves. We called the cop to say, hey, she brought it back. And he's like, yeah, I called her and left her a message. So she probably saw that it was the police that was calling, left the message. So she's like, oh, fuck, I need to bring it back. And so she brought it back. I'm like, yeah, not really a great strategy for theft if you're going to use your name, number, and the right credit card if you're going to steal something. And you can actually see, I have the video of it. You can see her clock the camera twice in like a 5-minute stretch to see where it was. And when she took the ring and put and touched the box, she actually moved the box a little bit out of what she thought was out of camera view, not realizing we had another camera on the other side. So she thought she did what she needed to do to get away with it, and she did not. So that's my fun story.
Like VAR, there's only one angle. We didn't see the other.
So yeah, exactly. Good process, boys. Well done, lads. Let's move on. And I think maybe part of the reason that popped in my head was when I was at home ripping up the floors. It was just anger of just like fucking just taking our shit. And
I have to say that entire episode is so amateur, from the way she was trying to steal to how you guys waited an entire day. They're like, you know what? We should probably get the cameras.
And I'm happy. Like, I know sometimes we've shared videos on here. Like, I could easily send it through Discord, and we can clock the moment. We could see her face when she looks up at the camera and then looks back down again. It's hilarious, and people are dumb.
It's criminal. Yeah, I mean, I know. Like over the years, I think because I worked in the city stores and the South Side and stuff like that. Like Menards, like, yeah, so many things and like so much stupidity, but then some really like, I like it, like respect for what you're trying to do, but you're still caught kind of things as well. So that's pretty difficult where there's a loophole. I mean, to be fair, they have like all kinds of jewelry just laying out over there, like some kind of flea market. Because usually, like any place that's, you know, I'm not a prince like you, so I don't go jewelry shopping often. But when you go, usually, like you say, like they'll be like, "Can I take a look at that? This one? No, not the one next to it. Not the one next to it." And then they like bring it out, and then like I said, they're just like full court pressure. You can't even inbound because they're like, "Okay, you want to put it back? You're gonna buy it, or I'm putting it back," kind of a thing. And then if you want something else, they'll be like, let's put this back, take that one out, and stuff like that. So thank God Angie's not really into jewelry. So the first couple of years I've exhausted the jewelry things, and I was like, oh, so you're not gonna be wearing this stuff. I guess I'm not gonna be buying jewelry anymore. All right, but we'll put the address in the comments and a link to the location. If you want some really affordable jewelry, you can head on over.
Let's see if you can do better than she did.
Yeah. Just don't leave your real name. And I thought actually I was like a step ahead. I was already doing the investigating. I thought you guys found it through the credit cards because she paid with the credit cards and like no investigation required. She's like, it's me.
No.
Call me. Oh wow, yeah, good story. It's worse than Trent's. It is worse than Trent's. Yeah, this we'll be all visiting jewelry for everybody.
Plead the fifth.
Yeah, there'll be even more amateur work tonight at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern on the Monday Night Podcast. Do join us then, and we'll talk about the Radometer 0 to Bruno Fernandez. Where does Trent rank? So we'll see you guys then. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.